Cleanup on Yonge Street begins.
But questions persist. How do we prevent a repeat of last night's rampage?
Just keep your camera away, all right? Just take your camera somewhere else, man. Take your camera somewhere else. I'm not running. Don't move!
After the action in Yorkville to try and disperse the crowd, the remaining group of about 20 people ended up coming down Yonge Street. Now the public order squad is coming down to contain the group down near Yonge and Dundas.
Ben Chin rejoins us now via the City Pulse Live Eye for more on last night's mayhem. Ben?
Gord, it was a hectic night for anybody who was out here. I think it was a completely unreal night, and I think everybody in the city is trying to make sense of it. All we do know, or my observation from being out here, is that it had little to do with race. And what we do know is that a gathering of some 200 here eventually swelled to 1,000 and then right out of control. Last night's looting was not about skin color. It was mostly about teenagers of many races. Few, if any, attended the rally at the U.S. consulate protesting the acquittal of 4 L.A. cops in the Rodney King beating. Nevertheless, they may have been inspired by what they saw happen in L.A. Still, Toronto's looters look different from this lot, and while the scale of last night's rampage may be unprecedented, we have seen groups like this before in Toronto, with freshly scrubbed faces, sporting hip-hop, rap, or skinhead styles. Witness last New Year's Eve, or closing night at the S. I see a lot of people trying to hold them back.
Exactly. We don't want this shit to happen, you know what I'm saying? Chill out, man. Chill out.
Despite the efforts of those who attended the rally to restrain looters, calm the crowd, reason did not prevail.
We don't want to fight. We don't want to beat up anybody. Nobody wants to get beat up. The cops don't want to beat us up. No! Listen to me. Listen to me. I'm dealing with it. I'm there. I was marching. I've been out here since 5 o'clock.
Because there was no reasoning with the mob and people were pushed to extremes, we are left now with two starkly different images of our city.
No looting, right? Because we don't want this stuff.
That's right.
We want this
This doesn't look good on you guys.
Right, okay.
Demonstrate, you got a point, go to cross, you go to cross.
As life begins to return to normal here at Yonge and Bloor, it's certainly a different scene. All we can tell you is that hopefully, although there have been a lot of gratuitous comparisons to LA, this was nothing like LA, and that this city can get over something like this. And maybe this will be the last thing in a long time that we have to look at like this. I can tell you there have been about 30 people that were arrested last night. In fact, only 9 were charged. 21 were let go of after they cooled down. Some 37 officers had minor injuries. 3 horses suffered minor injuries. There have been no serious injuries reported on the civilian side. Back to you, Anne.
Thank you, Ben. In the aftermath, though, some burning questions. How and why did the violence get started? Avi Lewis is live at police headquarters. Avi?
And both the Black Action Defense Committee and the police establishment held news conferences today. Here's a sample of what was said.
What happened yesterday was the frustration, the anger of people coming out. We have waited for the justice system to deal justly with our community, and they have failed.
I have issued instructions that when a demonstration of this nature occurs in the future, adequate preparation will be made to have the public order unit on full standby.
We cannot ask the hooligans to restrain themselves. We can only ask that others who see this as a problem that they share find some way of doing something about it.
So there is consensus emerging that the violence last night was committed by people who attached themselves to the demonstration, whose motives were anything but political. However, the question remains for the organizers of the demonstration how to avoid a replay of last night's chaos. But no one was seriously hurt last night.
My point is
people
this.
could get killed
My point is this. You have you have two things happening here. You have a police force that is like a stone. You can't get blood from stone. That is the first violence. The first violence here is the lack of equitable response by the politician. If you are locked up in your closet, Evie, in all fairness, and you keep knocking on the door and you knock on the door and you knock on the door and it doesn't open, what are you going to do?
Now, there is another demonstration planned for Thursday, the day after tomorrow. It's not clear whether it'll be outside the Attorney General's office or at Queen's Park. There will be a large police presence there. Now, Derry Mead calls that provocation to violence. Obviously, the police feel it's the only way to ensure public safety. Gord?
Thank you, Avi. The merchants of Yonge Street were also on the front lines last night. Laura Di Battista is with our second City Pulse Live Eye. Laura?
Gord, obviously there is still a ways to go in the cleanup, but a lot was cleaned up today. However, last night, this place looked like a war zone. It was a long night of anarchy and violence, and the target of much of that was property. By the time it was over, almost every other window on Yonge Street was smashed. Looters had made off with hundreds of thousands of dollars of jewelry, clothing, and electronic equipment.
I couldn't expect it. How much did it take at this stuff? Around about $30,000.
$30,000?
Yes.
Shopkeepers worked through the night, sweeping up glass and waiting for replacement windows. Nick Barlas had several guns stolen from his store last night. Police worked quickly, however, to retrieve them.
We might missing one or two guns. But I don't think actually if they took the gun, they took to do any harm. Probably the two guns we found next door. They threw to another store.
What kind of feeling does this give you about the city now?
It's nonsense. I mean, this doesn't help their cause, does it? I don't believe that it's helping their cause. I don't think this should be done again, and they're talking about having it again, and we're afraid. As it is, it's hard to work on Yonge Street. Now it's tougher.
Are you going to make any changes to your store as a result?
We're thinking about putting a gate, but although we heard that even the gate doesn't help sometimes.
Did you see we're just installing a new grate on our door, and we'll put, when we get our new windows in, we'll put also grates across the windows.
And this is all because of last night?
That and, yeah, I think crime is getting a lot worse, so it's time to protect ourselves.
So although the glass has been swept up and most of the windows repaired, it's going to be a long time before Yonge Street is back to normal. And as more and more shopkeepers opt to get those bars and windows, bars on their doors and windows, we might just see the face of downtown Toronto changing forever.